Welcome back. You're watching the AI report right here on News9, and joining me now is my colleague Amit, Ranjan. First up, a very interesting development that has taken place just a few days ago, and this comes by way of Jensen Huang, the CEO of the largest chip maker in the world, NVIDIA. And Jensen Huang is saying that China is just, to quote him, nanoseconds behind the US when it comes to AI dominance. And he says, and a big statement there, that China may indeed win the AI race and overtake US if, and that big if exists, if NVIDIA chips are not exported to China. Let's try and put this into perspective and really try and understand what's going on between the fight between US and China over AI and tech dominance. I mean, Jensen Huang saying that China is going to win the AI race if NVIDIA chips, especially the Blackwell chips, which are still sanctioned by the US, are not going to reach the shores of China. Why?
One, the technology transfer is necessary. Two, I believe they want the Chinese market, which is huge. And three, mostly earlier on, the same Jensen Huang had said that US will win the chip race sometime back, but they have to be inclusive with China. So probably it is also a wake-up call that the US needs to be more inclusive with China if it wants to win the chip race in the world.
But doesn't it seem a little counterintuitive to you? Because to me it does. At one point you're saying that US wants to control this hegemony over artificial intelligence, and the bedrock of that, pretty much the backbone of that, happens to be these high-powered GPUs which use the NVIDIA Blackwell chips. Now, as long as US protects these chips, whether it sells it to other countries or not, but as long as it protects these chips from China, chances are that it's going to continue dominating the AI race. But Jensen Huang is saying something completely the opposite. He's saying that let China buy these chips, and that may, prevent Chinese chip developers from making something as good as the Blackwell chips?
One, if the companies which wants these chips, who use these chips, have the NVIDIA chip, they do not need to go somewhere else.
But Chinese are known for reverse engineering. Aren't the Chinese going to take those Blackwell chips and figure out every single soldering bolt that goes into it and make those chips, make them cheaper, make them better, and make them perhaps faster? They also have access to the rare earths, So all the silicon that goes in and all the rare earths that go into making these chips, wouldn't China be able to reverse engineer the Blackwell chips if they get access to the Blackwell chips?
See, it's about money. Would it be cost effective or worth the trouble to reverse engineer something that's already readily available and probably being manufactured in China?
But wouldn't it actually
follow the Tesla model?
Wouldn't that actually be much more efficient than building from scratch? They'll have a template on the Blackwell chip. So Jensen Huang saying, China is going to win the race if you don't give them my Blackwell chips. But if you give them my Blackwell chips, they're going to lag behind. What's he trying to say?
See, Mr. Jensen Huang knows the country that's making the maximum amount of investments in research and development in this industry, whether it's quantum, whether it is chips, whether it is AI. And it is way ahead of US and probably Europe put together. Okay, so as much as Chinese need US technology, the US needs Chinese technology advancements.
And Chinese developers perhaps?
Developers also. So if you have an open market transaction between the two countries, the access not just to Chinese market but to Chinese technology makes it a little easier. Chinese know this and they do not let go of their technology as easily, but it will be at least easier than having a wall in between.
Okay, now something else which is very closely linked to these GPUs and these high-powered chips, especially the Blackwell chips or even the H100 series, which do in fact go to China, is this entire cloud infrastructure, this entire compute power, this entire data center economy. Now, India is also trying to make its own humble strides. I mean, Google has I think $15 billion or something is the investment they have pledged in Vizag to build a 1 gigawatt data center. But talk about this entire cloud architecture, because again, it's not just the chips, it's also this entire cloud architecture in which again, you have all US companies which are leading the race, whether it is Amazon Web Services, whether it is Google Cloud, whether it is Microsoft Azure, or whether it is IBM Cloud. At the end of the day, even the cloud infrastructure is dominated by US. So cloud is one part of it. Yes, I know you will tell me that Alibaba also has a significant cloud dominance. Alibaba also is working on AI models, etc. We haven't seen much of that come out
I
publicly.
want to go off on a totally different tangent, where I think India has the advantage here. US, leave China aside, US and Europe are both grappling with the cost effectiveness of GPUs and the technologies that go into this infrastructure that cloud requires. India, one, it is much cheaper. Two, US is also grappling with the amount of carbon footprint they are putting as a percentage of the whole world. India is not. So Google, when it sets up infrastructure in India, it sidesteps all of that and it is cheaper.
Fair enough.
So that's where I feel India has an advantage. China, you can't compete.
Fair enough. I sort of understand what you're saying. You're saying that big tech wants to offset their domestic carbon footprint by making investments outside of the US, and India becomes in the same technology.
Not just carbon footprint, even the amount of cost that goes in.
Got it. So cost and carbon footprint. But again, I think, coming back to what Jensen Huang is trying to say, and this entire AI race, because this pretty much is instigated by the US administration, instigated by Donald Trump himself. We've seen what's happened, the to and fro, the ping pong that the two countries have been playing on tariffs, reciprocal tariffs, until just last week when that legendary meeting in South Korea sort of, put some sort of a truce in the equation. But this overall AI dominance race between US and China has been instigated by Donald Trump. Now, publicly, in a public forum, Jensen Huang going and saying that US may continue to have its dominance if Donald Trump was to reverse his policy against China and allow a better business case for Jensen Huang and NVIDIA for those Blackwell chips to be sent over to China. Does this sort of put him on a sticky wicket with the US president?
One, nobody really knows how you can get onto a sticky wicket with Donald Trump.
Because everybody at some point does get on a sticky wicket with him.
And you do not know for what reason.
Okay.
But two, Donald Trump, I believe, and that's my very personal view, is a very, very smart person. He says so many things to get an effect from the other party, sometimes to get a reaction from the other party, and also sometimes, and it has happened in some cases, to get the other party into some sort of panic. He may not always mean, he operates that way.
All right.
So Jensen Huang probably wants, maybe his statements are to tone down Trump, or maybe to get Trump on an overdrive in his sort of way to get talking with China, or get basically interacting with China more in this industry than he has done before. Because it is in the US's interest. They are not investing as much in this technology. They may start doing it right now, but the model that the US is, it is more private. China is always more government, so they have more money to put into a certain place.
Right. Sure.
So they need Chinese technology. Chinese technological advancements are likely to be at a faster pace than the rest of the world in the times to come, given the investments they've made.
All right. Now, whether Jensen Huang is being absolutely altruistic towards Donald Trump and really saying that US will continue to dominate the AI race and make America great again by exporting those Blackwell chips to China, or whether it's a pure play profitability and business expansion case at play here, well, we should have more details on that in coming weeks and months. But for now, that's a wrap on this edition of the AI Report. Thank you so much for watching, but news continues right here on News 9.